I don't think since I've been chair, we've had a hearing that took after lunch. I'll keep my track record until Jonathan makes our agendas.
Yes, this is the consent calendar for the May 3, 2024 SPAR. And the item on the agenda is only one. It's 428 Toro Canyon Road, the Gillespie Guest House. And we have two important comments. We said, nice project. That's very good, very technical and landscape appropriate. So let's see. I just have one question on page, on the second page. It does say that the pool deck is not in the project. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, that is correct.
Oh, okay. And then between in pages 30 to 35, you see the project and it's pretty well done. Go to page 30. I think that's when they start showing the project. There's a lot of civil stuff because They're civil engineers. Yeah, keep going. Yeah, keep going, keep going. Yeah, the materials are not very well shown, but matching existing, right?
Yeah, yeah, our proposal is to match the existing.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and there is no landscaping, right?
We do have a planting
Yeah,
plan.
there is a
It's
landscape plan, yeah.
it's going to be before the architectural, will be L101. So it'll be the sheet right before our site plan. Actually, sorry.
It's at the
couple
end, I
down.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Right there. Was this it? Sorry.
Yeah, there's somewhere at the end, I
There
think.
it is. So yeah, this is our planting plan. And the proposal, I think it's like it's right above this image. Yeah. Oh, top left. Yeah, just like Yankee Point, just a deep shrub natural plant for hillside retention.
I think we saw it before. It's all good.
Okay, all right, very good. So we'll approve it at the main, at the main meeting, okay? Very good.
Thank you.
So that completes the consent calendar. I forgot my phone and my bicycles. Okay.
All right, we'll begin the May 3rd, 2024 Aspire hearing with any public comment not pertaining to today's agenda. Is anyone online?
If you have a public comment on today's agenda, please raise your hand in the chat. Seeing none?
All right, we'll move on to the agenda status report.
Item number 4, 23 BAR-00199 Rubin Edition has been asked to be dropped from the agenda.
Do you need a motion for that? No. Okay.
And then we'll review the minutes from April 19th. Do we have a quorum for, we were all here for that, right?
Everybody was present.
Okay. Okay, then we can review.
For this C1, at that last meeting, they had just removed all the planting from the front yard. So maybe strike that second sentence, just remove it. And you could put to provide appropriate planting palette for the front yard. That works with the oak trees. That covers it.
it was pretty straightforward. Okay.
That second sentence stays like where it says study planting pallet under oak trees, right? It stays, right?
Yeah, that was from the first time they came to consent.
Yeah.
And then his response was to that, and that comment there, in which what they chose to do was eliminate all the planting.
Right. No, I think the second sentence should be restudy planting, not study, but restudy.
Yeah, I was suggesting to remove that sentence.
Oh,
and
that one,
just
I
say
see.
to provide planting
I see, provide
for
plan.
the front yard that is
Yeah.
appropriate for underneath the oak tree.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, much
that's
better. Yeah,
What he said in the
yeah,
meeting.
yeah.
Okay, and then the rest were given final, so we can move on to one. Oh,
Is there a better way to describe the design than squat?
hmm? Sorry, what was that?
The comment D says the design appears squat in some areas.
Oh, I think that was did you make that
Chris
comment?
comment, I
Alex?
think.
And it was regarding the,
Oh, alligator.
It's not an architectural term, but
yeah,
I think it's clear that it looks like a pancake. I mean, there is no hierarchy. I usually have some elements that are higher and they can exceed the height limit, like a tower or some point of a roof or something. And I think that's what the comment is about. I didn't make the comment, but I think it was, I don't know, maybe Valerie or somebody made that comment, but I think it's appropriate.
we just say, consider integrating limited architectural projections above the standard 16-foot height limit as allowed by code to provide more variation in roof line.
Yeah.
And, and delete the first sentence, or the design appears squat in some areas. I think it has this same intent.
That sounds like you're being mean to him.
I know.
This design looks like squat.
Not our intention if you're watching.
So the E refers to the end of a walkway, right? It's a wall and a walkway. I think it must be probably the.
It was an
east.
elevation that was squared off instead of arch.
Yep. It's the east, proposed right elevation. Should study.
I don't know if I see Josh's comment in here. I don't know if I can reword it properly. It was, remember he was like zooming into the eaves and saying like talking about how the roof lines needed to get resolved as they intersected and things. You see a comment that,
I think that F is confusing.
F is
Glazing on doors and main entrance should be recessed.
Morning.
Are those doors or windows?
No, there were doors.
Yeah,
Well,
the
they're,
main entrance.
they're windows and
The
And it-
walkway, they were like big doors like this, right? All right, or you were talking about maybe.
yeah, I mean, we're talking about the windows on the side of the walk, not the main entrance door. Aren't we?
Should we change it to glazing on doors in main entry courtyard, glazing on doors and windows in main entry courtyard? I think, because it was on the right, as you look at the front door. Those were the ones you guys were commenting on.
It would say glazing on windows. off main entrance walkway. Or it would say glazing on windows. It'd say adjacent to main walkway, main entrance walkway should be recessed. Is that even more confusing? I would say glazing on windows on main entrance walkway should be recessed.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Any others for the first item?
Okay, I think we should say separate sidewalk from driveway, not to study it, but to do it. So eliminate the first 4 words there. And I think I made some comment, and it should be noted somewhere that this is a very large, development. Somewhere it should be said that.
It said that in B.
Architectural style is appropriate with sidewalk comments as noted below. Project is a very large program. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. C indicates that, yeah.
Alex, I had a quick question on
Yeah,
Your
that
last
is
comment.
Yeah.
That was item K, was it? And just to instead of saying study any opportunities, just to say separate sidewalks from driveway, was that the comment?
That's on K. Yeah, to eliminate, just to separate, just to do it, not to study it.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
I would just clean up the grammar a little bit. This is a very large project on an agricultural lot. Okay, instead of project is a large program. Okay, yeah, this is a very large project in an agricultural lot. Okay, etc. Okay, good.
Great. The next one, maybe we can skim past 2 and 3. 4 has some comments.
Yeah, I would upgrade the first sentence to say, update site plan to show pedestrian and vehicle access. Okay, that's it.
It also says landscaping, cars, parking. Landscaping and car parking should be clearly depicted. It's confusing, landscaping, cars, parking. Well, semantics.
Just to the landscape people, what does C mean? Landscaping is sparse on landscape plan. Does it mean like landscape seems deficient or sparse or limited? How would you like to say that?
I mean, the next sentence describes it a little better. Show existing planting and increase planting to biomass throughout.
Okay, if you're happy with the first sentence, okay.
You almost, I guess we don't need the first sentence, but I'm saying the second one is more descriptive.
Okay, eliminate the first sentence then. Okay,
Then we have a little more detail after. All right. And the last have. Yeah, we already. worked through it. Anyone want to make a motion?
make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and we'll move on to the SBAR members' informational briefings. Anybody have anything? No, okay. And then staff update.
Good morning, Madam Chair. No updates for me.
Okay. All right, and so we only had one item on consent today, and
Yes, that was the 428 Toro Canyon Road. It was, perfectly detailed, so it's ready for approval. I make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second it.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh. Actually, we have a quorum. Okay, and we'll move on to our standard agenda. First item is the Turnpike Center renovations, LLC renovations, request of Katie Moss, agent for Turnpike Center. LLC is here for conceptual review of a revision to a previously approved Building A facade remodel. There's an existing structures on the parcel, 3 parcels, including 6 buildings with about 129,000 square feet of commercial shopping center. The proposed project will require no grading, and it's a 10-acre parcel located at 4850 Hollister Avenue, Zone C2 in the Eastern Goleta Valley area. And if the applicant can say your name and give us your presentation.
Hello, I'm Katie Moses, architect with RRM Design Group. I'm here with the owners of the Turnpike Shopping Center, Larry and Nancy Howes. And this project at the, I don't know, I think most of you are familiar with the Turnpike Shopping Center. We have, this is a revision to a permit that was permitted in 2020, and that we're coming back for some revisions. We've done the corner buildings, we call them B and D, where Lighthouse Coffee and Kin Bakery and Goleta Valley Optical are. And basically kind of coming back with some changes that have, evolved. We kind of liked one version of the trellis, not the other as much. So we're and widening the sidewalk just to make sure there's room for bike parking with more EV bikes at Fitness 19, and replacing some lighting and some a lot of minor adjustments to the project. There's also some cost considerations since 2020. Costs have gone up, so they're trying to make the most of the what they can do. So I think the next sheet is the site. Actually, go next sheet. Probably like 3 more sheets after the civil. Next. There's a lot of civil sheets, right? This one. If you zoom into the Building A portion, yeah, so previously we had widened the sidewalk just in front of Vaughn's, and now we're continuing the expanded sidewalk all the way down. We've taken away some planters that were adjacent to the building just for waterproofing and logistics. It was, the planters themselves were getting very narrow to separate it from the building. We've replaced those with some movable pots that are fairly large, and we've got a couple of them over at Building B as well, so it'll be consistent through the center. And next sheet, go down to the elevations, I think I'll, all right, this, if you want to zoom in, the clouded areas are kind of what we've revised. Our planner asked. So in these, we've added a concrete base to match the Lighthouse Coffee before we had the siding going all the way down, and just logistics of shopping carts and things. The concrete base was nice. There were 3 awnings on this, and I think by the time signage gets up there and everything, it looked fairly busy, so we've removed the awnings. There was a building mounted planter there, and in these elevations, I'm not showing the movable pots or the bike racks or the benches, and so all of those will kind of fill in the space adjacent to the building. If you scroll down a little bit.
Sorry, just for clarification, that's the Vaughn's elevation.
That one is actually Fitness 19.
Okay, so on the
Yeah, so I'm starting from
west side. Okay.
This is CVS. CVS kind of had an extended pop out that was primarily for carts. But really CVS doesn't have that many exterior carts, and there were some security concerns that it might be hard to secure and somebody might be sleeping in it. They've had, you know, an instance of a fire in front of the future cantina area. So trying to eliminate an area like that. That's opened up. Again, the concrete base, and we omitted an awning there with the signage. It was fairly busy, and I think looking at the Lighthouse Coffee facades, I think it just wasn't necessary to have the extra awnings. Scrolling down, this is kind of in front, the number 3, portion 3. This is in front of the kind of small shops. There's a physical therapist and used to be Goleta Coffee and a nail salon, I believe. And that we're going to, we had a trellis that was more similar to Goleta Valley Optical Played Against Sports, the old one. But I think the ones came out better that are over Lighthouse and Can Bakery. And so we're replacing the kind of longer, skinnier one with the one to match Lighthouse Coffee. Scrolling down and, oh, and yeah, go back up actually. And this, they've, the owners have acquired a large bronze duck, similar to some of the others that will be in this little area, kind of for kids to play around and nice energy for outdoor seating. Scroll down, please. This one is kind of the west end of Vaughn's. Is we just shortened the trellis that was in front of there. And I think we've added some bike racks and pots there to, and just to make sure we have enough room for the bikes that are kind of currently cluttering the sidewalk. And I think Vaughn's typically has, you know, pumpkins out in front of there for Thanksgiving and Halloween and everything. And scrolling down to the front of Vaughn's, I think we adjusted that planter a little bit just to make sure we had room for the carts and people walking by, and to maintain our fire lane, and also kind of shrank that trellis that's adjacent to it. Yeah, I think that's it. We can scroll down to the landscape plans towards the end. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so kind of zoom in to any of the building.
Can zoom in on that
Just really
planting
what's
plan, Dan?
changed. So Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is fine. Scroll up towards the building. Zoom in to yeah. Up to yeah. The parking lot hasn't changed, but we're just kind of showing some benches and pots and some bike racks. They're very faint on there, but the large duck is not shown on this, but I think that's the bulk of our revisions to the.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions from the board?
On this plan, where were the planters that you removed along the building?
I think there was one on either side
You
of the
can,
recess.
you can walk up to the, and just kind of demonstrate.
There was one on either side here.
Okay. And there's pots now.
Yeah, there's several pots. All of those are pots.
And where are the bike racks?
There's the bike rack, there's a bike rack.
Are the pots or bike racks identified in terms of what they are on the plans here?
Yes, they should be. I had sent a photo to our planner, but I don't know if that's in the files. mm, Go back up. No, they weren't in yet, but there's an existing one in front of the
In front of the
White House Coffee. It's, I mean, they're
They're the concrete ones.
the big concrete ones. We have both trash cans and planters that match.
There was an image in the, in this that had lighthouse on it.
Yeah, go down.
Yeah, but I think it was before we
There.
got them, because I think I think that was still,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. right now there's one sitting right there. It's not there.
I remember right there, like smooth concrete and probably like 42 inches tall.
Yeah, they're probably.
I have a question. You know, on sheet AA31, do we go there? The light fixtures seemed kind of big. Yeah, it's AA31, yeah. It's
Like those,
these light fixtures,
or the ones above the sign?
you know, are kind of large. Have you changed those or?
The actual spec is, was approved previously under our previous permit, and they're installed at Lighthouse currently.
Well, maybe I noticed in the perspective
Let's go to the perspectives.
that they.
The first sheet.
Scale.
That's the original.
Oh, okay.
You mean those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Go back to the photos, please. There. Those and those are the ones that are spec'd.
Zoom in.
It's kind of blurry, but pixelated. But that's,
While we're on this image, I have a question too. So your original perspective of the trellis has like, it's enclosed, like it has a surrounding fascia on it. Will you see the rafter tails on it in front of Vaughn's, or
in
are you
front of
proposing the exact
Vons-
same?
In
detail?
front of Vaughn's, no. But
you'll
the small shops will be like this version of the trellis
Okay.
and expand, and I can show you what the Vaughn's one I think might be in some of the Vaughn's one will be,
Oops.
scroll down. Yeah. Right there, stop. The Vaughn's will be similar to those in front of the old,
Can you zoom in on that?
he's like, I'm looking and.
Yeah. And we're all saying different things. Okay.
Yeah, that is what's proposed in front of Vons.
Okay. All right. I also had a question about the parking. If I remember right, just from driving in that parking lot right now, some of the aisles in front of Vons are, even though they're 90-degree now, there's only room for one directional traffic. Like it's an undersized aisle.
Yeah, I think there's one wide one right now and
Maybe that's it.
and they will be 62.5 feet.
Will all get fixed. Okay.
That's part of the next phase.
Okay. I had to make sure.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
It'll-
I've seen conflicts. People going the wrong way. Yeah.
Uh-huh,
And then there will be like normal curbs instead of
Beavers.
using the boulders for keeping people from driving in the planters.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't,
Yeah, we're the front.
it'll
of
all
us
be
is all made,
formalized the way the
Yeah.
first phase was.
And I think,
Yeah, I just had a question. If you can go to a site plan, something that shows a site plan. Well,
go down a few. sheets.
yeah, a larger, yeah.
Um,
So in front, you mentioned that you removed the planters next to the buildings because they are awkward and they have water problems and so forth. Did you add any other landscaping in between? I'm not sure which drawing it is.
Yeah, because that wasn't showing.
going. Keep going, well, that's getting close.
Zoom in.
Yeah, this one right here. So
so I think
those
we're-
planters, yeah, there are some planters, yeah, show it closer to the building.
Yeah,
John.
those. we can
Closer to
push,
the building, the top building.
The Vons building, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, so what,
Yeah, so we've maintained these planters that have some palm trees in them.
and what did you put new planting or, I didn't see
Yeah,
anything.
there's new planting and going in there.
Something significant. Okay, all right.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? All right, we'll move on to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience or online?
We have a couple of people online. If you would like to speak on this item, please raise your hand in the chat. Or if anybody in the audience has a public comment. Seeing none?
All right, we'll move on to comments from the board. John, do you want to start?
Well, I think generally it's okay. They're adding more planting in the parking lot, which I appreciate. And I like the new entrance to the main entrance to Vons, better definition and a little more residential in scale, perhaps. So I think generally it's an improvement.
Alex?
I agree. I just want to make sure that the landscape architects on this board take a good look at the landscape plan because usually shopping centers are deficient in general. I'm not making any aspersions, but in general, shopping centers could use a lot more landscape. I mean, in terms of volume, tall trees.
Yeah, I agree with the previous comments and, sorry to see the planters go at front of the building, but appreciate just having a sense of organization along the facade and encouraging the bicycles and having them be organized. That's all good. So, yeah, and I agree with the landscape for the parking lot is important. Yeah.
Robert?
Yeah, I think everything here looks pretty good. And one thing I would like, if you could potentially bring back would be details on what the pots are gonna be. The planting that's gonna go in them and then what the bike racks are gonna be, so. And I don't know if, I'm assuming it's gonna take some effort to reproduce that rendering that's on the first sheet, but it's a little distracting. It kind of seems like that's what's being proposed, but that was the design you're going away from, correct?
You want to go up to the
The
render?
original, that's the original approval.
Yeah, with the planters the planter on the left side is gone, but the planter under the Vons signage is still there.
Oh, there is.
And how much did you shorten the trellises? Are they shortened from what's shown here? Mhm.
So
I-
are the
I think
pots in the
it-
location where those bollards are at? I guess it's always nice to be able to see it kind of in the pretty rendering. Yeah, I get it. And those two planters that have that kind of palm tree symbol on either side, that's just existing planting that's remaining? I think you just want to make sure that all that planting looks consistent with what you're proposing. And it would be nice to see what's gonna go in the pots and the bike rack, I think. That's
Alright.
my comment.
Okay. I agree, seeing the pots. I also think, studying whether there's an opportunity to have maybe a different size of the same style pot, like maybe it's wider and squatter so you can get, like small canopy tree or something, something in there. Cause if I remember right, the current size is like upright and vase shaped, so it isn't really a tree pot, I guess. And so if you can get to get more variety in there. And then I agree with the comment to make sure any existing planters, I think, are gonna see some damage through construction. So if you can show proposed planting in all of them. Right now, it looks like you're proposing trees in the parking lot wherever there's an opportunity for it. But wherever you have room to give it more than a 4-foot diamond, would just suggest taking advantage of it. And
That hasn't changed from the
It hasn't.
plans, so.
okay. Let me see if I have any other. I think that's it for now. Oh, I had one last comment. I know you're here for concept on this, but the color of the trellises that you see the rafter tails on, like at Lighthouse, I think your color palette is really nice over there. For whatever reason, and maybe this is personal preference, the color of the rafter tails is really bright compared to everything else.
Just the,
I mean, the stain that was put on the steel, I don't know. I guess when you come back with a materials board, if you can include that just so we can see it.
it's an aluminum product, not
Okay,
wood. And I mean, that was being done during COVID, so trying to source things was
for sure.
very difficult, but we can tone down, probably, we'll see what's available, but it was.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to change that one. I'm just thinking I'm just requesting when you come back with the final color board, if we can
Okay.
look at that with all the other colors. Any other final comments?
Yeah, I have a comment. I think they should update the rendering. So the rendering on the front that shows what you're proposing, not the past tense, like the real thing.
I mean, it's relatively close to what's there, and
Yeah,
it's
but,
kind of going in as a revision to an existing permit.
Right.
I'm trying to be conscious of the owners.
I understand, but
Yeah,
it's
they're
not,
spending
it's not too
money on.
much money to
Is-
change a rendering. It should show what it is you're proposing.
And maybe that's a question for the planner, because it doesn't always kick back to full board if it's just a revision, but for some reason it did. Is the planner online? Just wondering what triggered it to come back, if it's minor.
Yeah, and we did submit this last July, and it took until January for planning to tell
Oh,
us that it
yeah.
needed to go back to SBAR, just.
Yeah, and sometimes they send it to me ahead of time to ask if it needs to come back full board or not. But this one didn't do that. Okay, well,
I think they said the SBAR chair, they went back and forth like 3 times, and
oh, it might have been before. Okay, it might have been before I was. Okay, so
yeah, I think we were hoping to try to get final for this if possible.
Your agenda is only for concept today, but we can, does the board feel like it could come back prelim, final, full board or on consent? Okay. So we'll ask the planner to agendize prelim, final on consent. So I think that's the most expedient process we can give.
Just looking for had a photo of the planter that I sent the planner. Okay, I was looking for it.
Just making sure, yeah, it's only agendized for concept.
Is it
Okay.
just one type of planter that's used for the entire property? Or are there any, looks like they're the same size.
Yeah, I think the ones up here are all the round ones. We have used some more rectangular fiberglass ones in front of, I think, like Kin Bakery and Lighthouse. And I don't think we had any of those proposed in front of On's.
Okay.
I think since you've eliminated the planters that are in front, that were part of the previous proposal, that probably warrants a study of how you can get some nice planting with the proposed pots and planters that you're gonna bring, so.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Okay. So we don't have to make a motion since you're here for concept, but you can return prelim, final on consent.
The comment is that to bring the proposed parts, to the details on the proposed parts and any change on landscaping and update the rendering. Those are the three things, right?
And to bring whatever the bike rack is.
And the bike racks, okay.
It's the same bike rack that was previously proposed. think
Yeah,
it's
I guess I
a-
just didn't see what it was in the sheet, but if you're not changing, that's.
There's other ones over by on Hollister by the trash enclosure.
Okay, so then in 2 weeks, you get your final permit, at least from us.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Move on to item 2, Edinger Workshop, request of Brett Edinger, the owner, here for conceptual review of a proposal to enclose an existing permitted carport and convert into a workshop of 430 square feet. There are existing structures on the parcel, 1,480 square foot residence, an ADU, and a 430 square foot carport and storage. The proposed project doesn't require any cut or fill and is located at 2636 Puesta del Sol in the Eastern Goleta Valley area. The applicant can state his name. Good morning.
That working?
Thank you.
Yes, here today to present some minor changes to our home, which is under construction, almost complete. And the owners realized that the architect didn't provide enough storage. And the owner would also like a place to maybe have a workshop or an art studio. So we're proposing today, if you could just look at the cover sheet there, that's the rendering, that's the house that was permitted. If we could please go to the second sheet. You'll see some photos sort of zeroing in on the carport under construction. You look down on the lower 3 photos, you'll see 3 different vantage points, and from the back of the house, the lower 2 photos. Essentially, we go to the next sheet, please. You'll see an existing permitted site plan on the left showing the carport and the proposed enclosure of the carport on the right, shown shaded. We still meet the Santa Barbara County parking requirements for the 2 for the house, 1 for the ADU, and 1 as required for Mission Canyon. So 4 total off-street parking spaces. If you could go to the next sheet, please. Same idea, lower, if you could scroll up just a tad. Thank you. No, a little more. There you go. So you could see both plans at the same time. That was a little tricky. Thank you. Carport on the bottom. You can see those 3 little storage pods to the north. That's all we have in the entire project. One's taken over by our utility area. So the proposal at the top is to simply enclose that area and then convert the middle one to a little toilet room, top center. If you could please go to the next sheet. Left-hand rendering as permitted right-hand rendering with the enclosure. We're trying to downplay the entry to that space so it doesn't compete with our entry into the house, which is back beyond in the courtyard. The materials will be the same 1x6 clear redwood that you saw in some of the photos, perhaps. We're not proposing any changes to the landscape, nor to the drainage and grading, nor to the footprint, merely enclosing that space. You can see the architectural drawings at the bottom. Again, they're composite. The one that you're seeing is the proposed, and if you scroll up a little bit, kind of redundant, there we are again with the carport. And then scroll down to the last sheet, please. Again, comparisons on the left side, upper, the carport as viewed, and then on the right side, cladding with the redwood, not really seen by anybody. It's pretty tight up against the southern property line. And then on the middle sheet shows a high clear story window in the workshop with a glass door to let in a little light. Again, all the materials are the same. No other changes. It's pretty. And it's about 370 square foot of enclosure added to the project.
Right, thank you. Any questions from the board?
Was it frustrating for the owner to work with their architect like that?
It's, it's really challenging, to tell you the truth. Yeah, we just have big spaces with no storage. It's the predicament that should have avoided, but this is our proposed solution.
Any other questions? All right, we'll move on to any public comment in the audience or online.
Anybody has a public comment, please raise your hand in the chat. Seeing none?
Move on to any comments from the board. It's pretty simple, so if anyone has a comment, I'll just, yeah.
I think it's fine to move on to prelim final on consent.
Agreed.
Good to go?
Good to go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice day.
Thanks.
Enjoy your storage.
All right, moving on to item 3, Anderson new single-family dwelling. The request of Heidi Jones, agent for Charlie Anderson, here for conceptual review of a new 2023 square foot single-family residence with a 609 square foot 2-car detached garage on an existing vacant lot, uncovered parking, storage, deck, pergola, and associated landscape and hardscape. It's a currently vacant parcel, and the project will require 710 cubic yards of cut, 140 cubic yards of fill on a quarter-acre parcel located at 1429 Orange Grove Avenue in the Mission Canyon area. The applicants can state their name and give us their presentation.
Good morning, Heidi Jones here online. Chris Cottrell and Aaron Carroll are there in person. I just wanted to give a brief bit of background for you. This actually came before the board in 2019, pre-pandemic, and several things transpired since that time. At that time, the board liked the colors and materials, but they really wanted them to study the massing, and there were some neighbor concerns that transpired. Since that time, the massing has significantly been reduced, square footage reduced a little over 800 square feet, and the height. So I think it's a great improvement upon the prior proposal. We've got a new team on board. And just going to mention that Hugh Twibell should have sent comments to you from the Mission Canyon Association review that were positive.
Received.
Great. So I'll pass it on to Chris and Aaron.
Thanks, Heidi. Chris Cottrell, architect.
Aaron Carroll, landscape architect.
Okay, like Heidi mentioned, this was reviewed June of 2019. The board's items were to request reduction in height, reduce the stone on the chimney, and minimize the massing and provide some sections. I know it's probably a new board since then, or actually that we're still on there. Just to give you a quick overview, this is at the end of Orange Grove Avenue, a private road. There's some shots there. If you actually go to page 6, That's Aaron's. nice-
Quick question, was the previous, the one in 2019, was that just a completely different looking house?
No,
It
no,
was, it was similar to this.
very similar. Yeah, it's a different team, slightly reconfigured.
It was flat roofs and.
It was flat roofs. It was actually 3 stories. So the big change that you're seeing now is we
Is-
knocked off the top story and knocked off the chimney. So now it's a very similar location, slightly adjusted, but very similar to what it was. Yeah, so the only big changes that you're seeing is that 3rd story is gone. It's now a 2-bedroom house, and that the chimney's gone. Let's see. Yeah, those are the big moves. There's a section on the first page if you just kind of want to see how this is cut into the hillside. And then I'll quickly walk you through the plan and then let Aaron, if you just, yeah, there you go. This thing is really set into the hill, like the back of the hill. I mean, we have maybe 6 feet from the bottom of soil to the top of the roof there. So it's really chopped in there. So if you can imagine, there was another story on top of that and a chimney out in front near that grid line 4. So that's been eliminated. If you go to page 8, I'll just show you the plans real quick and then hand over to Aaron. Okay, so the right side is the lower floor plan. I'm sorry, the left side is the lower floor plans, garage, and then like a family room entrance, interior stair. Or you can get up to the main floor if you take a right parking on the driveway. There's a nice stair that sort of uses the existing grade to get up to that front door. The owner is a local mason, so all the stonework is he's building this himself, which is kind of a treat. I think it's going to be a nice little jewel. And then the last page is just the elevations. Maybe you can zoom out just a little bit so the whole page fits in. There you go. Okay, so the top elevation, that's looking from the end of the road. So that's a view that, that's a view that doesn't really exist. So there's a steep hillside kind of where we are from that. Obviously the middle elevation, that's the front elevation. It's a stone base, stucco top, dark anodized windows. And you can see on the lower elevation, we've got that stone datum coming up to the window line. So it's kind of just coming right out of the ground. It's going to be a really nice looking little house. Okay, I'll pass it over to Aaron for landscape.
If you want to go to sheet L1.1. There we go. This is the site plan. Orange Grove is a private road and it's just getting extended. This is the last lot on the road, and it's not paved all the way to this lot. New paver driveway, and the owner is a stonemason, as Chris mentioned, and he's gonna have fun building those steps. He really wanted an organic design for the front entry stairs, so boulders, Cherokee stone with a handrail. And there's a little entry trellis there at the front door. And then on the south side, we're terracing stone walls there to meet grade there, as you saw on the elevations. And then there is one medium-sized oak tree that's in the way of Orange Grove that we are proposing to transplant. But we also are going to be mitigating for that tree in case it doesn't make it. So we're mitigating with one 24-inch box oak. Next page, please. The owner really wants the landscape to be fire safe, understandably so. So the plant palette is almost entirely succulents, with the exception of the oak trees. So lots of drought tolerant succulents, some of which he's already grown himself, but he's going to use. So a lot of agaves, echeverias, dudleyias, things like that. And then the existing chaparral type plants, which is like laurel sumac and stuff like that. That's kind of down in the drainage area. There's a existing drainage swale to the south there, you can see. And we are removing one pepper tree and one olive tree.
Okay.
The total landscaping is under 2,500 square feet, so there's no formal irrigation plan, but I do have irrigation specs and notes included.
That's good. That complete your presentation?
Yep.
All right. Any questions from the board?
Can we go back to the elevations?
Last page, bottom.
So is the lower walls are the stone?
Correct. Yep.
And so it changes to stucco at the railing height?
You got it. Yep.
And that's true all the way around the building?
We're going to stop that. There's sort of the lower left elevation, this north elevation, it's that is just stucco.
There's not much there,
Right.
yeah.
And then that, if you scroll to the top, yeah, there you go. So this west elevation, that is gonna stop at the barbecue. So that's rear portion, is going to be all stucco on this side.
Right, and your grade lines, that's really,
Yeah.
it's in the hillside
Correct. Yes.
there?
Yep.
Okay, okay. And what's the material on the fascia band of the?
Yeah, like
the-
metal fascia.
And what colors are you, or have you gotten that far?
Yeah, if you scroll up a little bit, we've got our start of our finish schedule going. And I believe we submitted the color palette as well. Is that in there?
It says Mesa Verde.
Yeah, it's so an integral, it's kind of it's a muted white. It's like an off white. Okay, we can come back with the color palette next time, but it's very earthy, so it'll go with a sandstone.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But you can go back, if you go back down and we can see that, the exterior colors. Maybe that finish schedule, you can zoom in there a little bit. Oh, do you want to see it now, or we can just bring them when we come
We
back?
don't have to
Bring
say.
it back.
Yeah.
It's okay. 'Cause you have to come back no matter what.
And the garage doors, are they glass?
I think that's TBD at this point. It wouldn't be they're all cut in there. So it hasn't been determined yet. I think it would look nice with glass, but it doesn't have to be.
But it does face out.
It does
to the
face out.
road, so it might be some
Yep.
night lighting that might not be wanted. Okay. And the railing?
Yeah, black metal railing, cable rail with a black metal cap. Yeah, it's fire safe, like this whole thing. There's no exterior wood. Even that front pergola is steel.
Questions? Okay, we'll move on to public comment. We did have one letter that was in favor of the project from, get his name now. Hugh Twyble. Yeah. Yeah. Is there anyone else in the audience or online that has a comment on this item?
We have two hands up. We will go with Ginger Sledge. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, Ginger here. I have a couple of comments. The only page, and I don't know what page it is on your plans, that show that there's a house directly below it, which is my house, which is actually the house at the end of Orange Grove. That's not, this proposed house is not the only house at the end of Orange Grove. I've been there for 20-something years. And
Go to the first page.
is it the first page? I share the easement with, no, it doesn't show. And none of the pictures show the direction towards my house. None of the photos that have been included. There's nothing there. If you keep going down, there's one page that shows like a map with different surrounding house. That's it.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, and it says 1405 Orange Grove, but it's actually 1405 Tunnel Road is the address. But I back on and I share an easement with this proposed house. I just have a couple of questions. It has improved since the last time, and I know we're just going to have to be really cognizant of, it's a very tight constrained lot with a very big culvert where all the drainage goes down onto my property. So I've mitigated drainage without a property there for quite a long time with retaining walls and French drains and all of that. But even with the recent water that we've had, rains, I've had quite a bit of flooding. So I just am going to keep an eye on how this progresses. I do have a question about where the oak tree is that the landscape architect or the architect said that may have to remove. I wasn't quite sure when he was describing it where that is. So I wanted to find out about that. And yeah, I'm just concerned. I know it also says on your description that it's a detached garage, but according to the plans, it looks like it's just dug into the hill. So I have a question about that. I don't think it's detached, but I don't know. Yeah, so obviously I'm a little bit concerned, but I don't really, I am grateful that the builder owner is taking into consideration the downhill property, which is mine. That's all I have to say at the moment. I would like some views though from that house to mine because it is over my house. So any photographs that they can include for the county would be great. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say at the moment. Thank you though.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And I think there's more.
Where is the oak tree on this plan?
Yeah, sheet L 1.1 shows it more clearly.
The landscape sheets, 1.1.
There we go.
Well,
So right where it says private on the
yeah,
road there,
left of that.
other side.
Jonathan, you see private on
Right where it says,
Orange Grove
yeah,
Avenue.
there's a,
Yeah.
number 19 is where that existing oak is, where Orange Grove is being extended. And then we're just going to move that tree up the slope a little bit.
Okay.
And what's 20? Number 20? Is that
That's the location of the
new
the existing oak. No, the
of the
transplanted
transplanted.
oak, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I think there was one more public comment.
Yes, Howard Schleifer, go ahead and speak.
This is Howard Schiffer. I live at 1450 Orange Grove Avenue, so one house or two houses closer to Tuttle Road. My concern is a few things. One is obviously fire, that I wonder how many cars are going to be using this property. That street has gotten much more densely populated, and we lost our house in the Jesucita fire. So obviously that's a concern. Drainage is a major concern. I think Ginger mentioned that this neighborhood has really come together to try to make sure that no additional building was done that was going to start to add to the drainage problem. The county has helped out with a culvert under Tunnel Road. So there has been some mitigation, but it still is a major issue. The Spinelli property, which is adjacent to this property, there was a lot of water that came down during the last storm. And so, we have heard that from the owner that drainage has been a major consideration. So we appreciate that, but we really want the county to really have their eyes on that, to really have some assurance that this is not going to add to the problem. And the third issue, I think that again, Ginger mentioned, but it'd be nice to have story poles put in for the new height without the third story. Just so I think there are three neighbors that are going to be impacted: the Spinellis, the Alexanders, and then Ginger Sledge. And it'd be good for them to be able to see the height of the actual new proposed building. But that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And is there anyone else online?
That looked like the last person.
Okay, that'll conclude public comment, and we'll move on to comments from the board. Let's start with Val.
Well, I'm remembering now this, we did do a site visit to it and this neighborhood has had a lot of issues, both with fire and drainage, and it's gone over many, many years. Certainly, this looks like a good proposal, vastly more appropriate in size for the property. Like the stone detailing, like the architectural detailing, probably as nice as the glass garage doors are, it shouldn't be. And I do think that some real, just like the four corners story poles would be beneficial for this neighborhood because they're so engaged in this process. And it's been like that for many, many years. Anybody that comes into this neighborhood has to kind of jump through some hoops to get there.
Alex?
I like this proposal a lot. I think it's a lot better than the previous one. I would like to see the colors, and if there are any renderings, and you may have some 3D renderings, would be nice to see. These pictures, they are hard to read in the sense that the stone is not very clearly. From a distance, everything looks like a light gray line, but obviously, once it's rendered, it will be, it will be very good looking. I agree with the comment on the garage doors. I don't think the glass facing the street is really that appropriate. Maybe something else, and I'm not so keen about that. I understand it matches the style, but it's just, I don't know, it doesn't seem appropriate for the location. I like what I see. I was wondering why that door on the side, if it does have no door protection whatsoever, the one on the, well,
Mhm.
could use a little bit of a roof cover or something, but it's just a personal thing. I mean, maybe you thought about that, but that's the thing that it strikes me as missing. I really don't think we need to go through story poles again. We've seen this. We've seen the story poles on a larger project. We approved those story poles. This is just better, and there's no doubt about that. So that's where I am.
Okay, John?
Oh, I think that this building is very austere and industrial looking. Say a little break with stone veneer and some relief with the landscaping steps. But I think that the building is plain, austere, and not compatible with the neighborhood at all. I couldn't support this project in its present state here.
Okay. Robert?
I like the simplicity of the architecture. I think what's maybe not reading here is the materials, and so that might be kind of working against you. And there's going to be some warmth brought to it all by the color you choose to paint the building and the material for the stone and all that. It sounds like the owner's going to do some nice stone masonry. You guys addressed the fire concerns. I was wondering if you had any comments towards the drainage concerns for the neighbors. I mean, looking at your landscape plans, it looks like you're implementing dry wells and stabilizing riprap to try to address drainage. Is there anything else that is worth sharing with the neighbors to address that concern, or is that just kind of standard practice?
I don't know if you have the civil plans in here, but we do have full civil plans. Yeah, the downspouts are going to a dry well and then they overflow to riprap right at the existing flow line of the swale. And then Orange Grove has riprap as well, and that's going to the swale.
So, I mean, my comment would be that it seems that you guys have worked in what is a logical way to try to address the concerns of fire and drainage here. So, as far as I can see, I mean, I'm not an engineer in designing a drainage system, but, and then the landscape planting is sensitive to the fire concerns, and I think it's appropriate for the area. I have nothing but positive comments for your project.
All right. Yeah, I have positive comments too. I do think a rendered either elevation or perspective would really help visualize it a bit more. But I think the plant palette is appropriate and landscape plan is appropriate. And I think the masonry will go a long way to knitting it into the hillside. I agree that it seems as though the drainage concerns are addressed. I'll also just a note to the public commenters that drainage and fire doesn't land specifically in our purview, but it will go through the planning process. And so if you have concerns that about those items, just make sure to email the planner involved in this project. But it will have to go through vetting through fire. Have you guys, has applicant gone to fire yet with this? Okay. So yeah, this project is agendized here for conceptual review. It doesn't sound like we're requiring story poles at this time. It can come back prelim, final, full board, or just prelim. What's the feeling?
Yeah, I would, yeah, I was, when I first saw it, I thought it would come on consent, but being that there are all these questions, I think a full board would be appropriate for preliminary final.
Yeah, it may be too on that, I think the weakest elevation is at the southern,
Yeah.
you go back to the elevations. The west elevation. That, you know, if your rendering can depict how it sits into the hill, because right now it looks austere and it looks like it wants the stone to carry around, that there's enough wall sticking above grade that the stone should continue to help it like you did on the other side. So that would be an additional comment, that maybe the stone needs to come around on this west elevation up at the level of the top of the railing. I mean, that would really help it.
And carry through all the way to the
All the
west
way,
end.
yeah.
So it would hit that sill kind of, the window, or the
Yeah,
mullion.
it would have to interact with the window.
Okay. All right. So we'll ask the planner to agendize you for prelim, final, full board.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Okay, and item 4 is not here today, so we're moving on to item 5, the Revenchanis addition and accessory structure. Request of Nello Manciotti, agent for Shahir Revenchanis, here for further conceptual review of a dining room addition of 154 square feet, 576 square foot artist studio, and 100 square foot wine cellar. There's an existing 2,000 square foot main residence and a 500 square foot garage and laundry room. The project will require no cut or fill. It's on a 1 acre parcel located at 2940 Torito Road in the Toro Canyon Community Plan area. I'll read the comments and then the applicant can give us their presentation. Nice project. Additions are consistent with the existing structure. Return with a site plan clearly demonstrating existing and proposed. Include site section showing slope of site. Include existing and proposed hardscape. Simplify the site plan as shown too many lines clutter up the plan. Locate all existing trees, including type and size, and demonstrate how additions will impact those trees. Return with a landscape plan, study how Koi Pond integrates with artist studio, Existing French doors in blue in photo number 7 and double hung windows in photo 2 do not match the existing style of the structure. Address this with the project to improve continuity with the rest of the structure. And it's here for further conceptual. Is the applicant online? Guess I should have checked that before I read
Yeah,
the
we
whole
have
thing.
several people online for this item.
We do? Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
That's good. Please state your name and give us your presentation. Since we've seen it, you can mostly address what has changed since we last saw it.
My architect is online, Nello.
Mr. Manciotti, are you online? There's someone
Oh,
trying
he's-
to unmute.
I can see him speaking, but he's having some audio issues
Oh, okay.
because his camera's right here. It's working. He's here, but
Okay.
he's,
Yeah,
it's like,
we see you on
Maybe
this.
his audio is off.
yeah, we can see you, but we can't hear you, Mr. Manciotti.
There's a way for him to call in on his phone while he's,
Yeah,
right. Usually it's listed on there. I don't see it on ours, so. We,
Mr. Manciotti, if you see the phone number right here, you can call this one and you can join the meeting.
looks like he's dialing. Maybe we can scroll to the plan that shows the trees to ensure that that comment's been addressed, since it's pretty straightforward.
Oh, do I need to bring this back? Was this the tree plan you were talking about, or?
Like existing plot plan, sheet 1. Just seeing if the trees are identified or not.
Existing plot plan.
Robert, have you already looked at this? I don't know if I see all the trees being identified.
This is the plan that has too many lines. It's to the point where it's the same as having no lines. I mean, there's just so many.
I'm just not, and I'm also just not seeing a legend for the tree inventory, existing tree inventory on the site.
Hello, everyone. This is Olivia, the planner for this project. I'm noticing that it looks like there's 2 different profiles for Nello. So if calling in doesn't work, I'm wondering maybe if he could try to unmute the second one. I don't know if that's causing the issue.
He's on twice. I see that.
Yeah, he might have shared his link, but that shouldn't cause an audio issue.
Yeah. Okay. Olivia, does it look like this is the most current set that you were given?
Sorry, could you scroll down a little bit?
I just don't see a tree
Yes.
disposition plan or of some sort, but
Yeah, so the small green circles are the trees, but we are still working on making sure that the size of those are shown. They do have a bio report that does have a full table listing all of the trees and sizes for those. But yeah, that information hasn't made it onto the plans quite yet.
okay. And we don't have the bio report in our folder, I don't think, unless
Let me see. I can upload it for next time. Sorry about that.
Okay. Are those oaks that are closest to this new artist studio?
They are, yes.
10 foot from one and 18 from another.
And according to the bio report, those two closest ones are going to be substantially impacted. But I think those are the only two on site. So those will be need to be mitigated for, but there shouldn't be any other mitigation needed besides those two.
Okay.
Mr. Bonziotti, if you're still having issues dialing in, you can call our our planning commission hearing room line. It is 805-568-2092.
He's calling someone. He might be calling.
He might be
his client
calling,
or
yeah.
something. We could pause on this while he tries to figure out his audio and move on to item 6 if the applicants are here. Are you here for item 6? Okay. Mr. Manciotti, I think we're gonna we'll return to your item. So you have some time to work out your audio.
May want to turn off and get off online.
Yeah.
Get offline and
If
then
you'd like to leave the chat and then come back in, that might be able to fix the problem.
Okay, we'll move on to item 6 and return to item 5. So Posebon, new single-family dwelling, request of Kurt Magnus, architect for Dennis Posebon. For the conceptual review of a new single-family dwelling, 1,694 square foot with a detached garage, 936 square feet, breezeway of 20 square feet, and covered porch of 526 square feet. It's currently a vacant parcel, and the project will require 100 cubic yards of fill there's a mistake. I think 100 cubic yards of cut, and it says fill on the memo, but 2,700 cubic yards of fill. The property is a 5-acre parcel, a 5.19 acre parcel located at 2970 East Valley Road in the Toro Canyon plan area. So if the applicant can state their name, give us their presentation.
Hello, my name is Kurt Magnus, architect. This is Dennis.
Dennis Posebon.
And Sarah Posebon. So our landscape architect's on the way, Bill Mellett. So hopefully he'll get here in time.
Sounds good.
So it's a new house, on an empty lot at the end of East Valley Road. The Posebons own this land for many years, kind of a family thing. So this is the lower lot that borders along East Valley Road. They're planning on building a very simple kind of story ranch, California home up there towards the top of the lot. The topographic, the property or the topographic kind of slopes from East Valley Road up and beyond the house in a gradual rise. This is the house plan. It's a 3-car garage with a breezeway connecting to the main house, just simple rectangles. What are the elevations? Just board and bat, asphalt shingle. I don't know, the bronze windows or simple windows. Bronze clad windows. Then there's a porch off to the south, top of the pad. It's all on one floor, so we can, age in place and not have to trip around steps and stuff. We have the grading plans done by Flowers and Associates. They're having a hard time reloading.
There's photos on the left.
There we go.
Maybe.
So we're creating a level pad pretty much on the top of the property, but the neighboring properties continue to go up in elevation, so it's not like it's on a ridge line or anything. It's just creating enough level space in order to have the house. So continue down, I guess. Scroll. Drainage plans. Are you going to have a horse pasture in the lower level? Horse pasture in the lower?
Yes, horse pasture all around it.
Yeah, they're horse people, so it's an equestrian facility. Continue on. So I don't know, this is Bill's landscape plan. He's done a pretty good job. I don't know what that is. Is that irrigation plans?
Yeah, his hydrogen plan.
Yeah, so he's got a few big trees, looks like, and some plantings to help with that bank stabilization and soften the whole view from the neighbors on East Valley Road. Continue on, I guess. Let's go to the site photos. I don't know. Yeah, so the middle view up there from East Valley Road, looking up at the property, and then the rest of them are from the pad looking down, looks like.
Can you identify where, say, that center photo, where the house pad will be? Is it, can you actually show us? Is it kind of in the middle of the photo there?
Yes, the one right in the middle.
But it's not below those trees, right?
Yes.
Yeah, below the trees, but kind of where that dirt band is.
That's correct.
Basically, yes, that,
Where the dirt
yes.
is
right
in the
there
middle.
In the middle where the dirt is, yeah. The property line is where the green starts above that dirt.
Oh, that's the rear property
That is the rear property
line, right behind the dirt line.
of the five acre parcel, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Right, where that other house is, where the cursor arrow is.
Correct.
That's the neighbor. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's actually,
Anything else to complete your presentation?
Pretty straightforward, I think.
Sounds good. We'll move on to questions from the board, even though we kind of started. Any other questions?
Did you clear that lot, with all the,
Oh, native ground.
uh-huh.
Yeah,
I mean,
there-
I know you've been using that for dumping, over the years, and have you leveled that off now on the rest of the
that-
property?
And the debris flow, we brought in like 16,000 yards of dirt, and it was placed by Granite Construction, and then the county required Granite to come back and rekey it and compact it and certify it. They came back a year later, took all that debris out, screened it, and rekeyed it and compacted it all and certified the pad. Nowhere on the parcel where I'm building at, but it's on the 5 acre parcel, but it's on the
east side.
going up the driveway would be on the right-hand side.
Well, are you do you store your equipment there on this site, or do you have another site where?
We have another site, yeah.
Okay.
But your proposed grading plan here from Flowers is showing additional dirt coming in that's not already there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, is there a reason that the kind of grading extents are constrained so close to the building pad, causing that 2-to-1 slope? Is there something below that slope that you're trying to preserve? It's just a 2-to-1 slope, right?
The 2-to-1 slope on the,
Yeah. Is there something at the base of that slope you're trying to preserve? Is there a reason that that can't be feathered out more?
the drainage from the upper partials that are coming down through there.
Oh, okay.
You want to know if there's a reason, the bottom, right?
Yeah, it's just as steep as you really can engineer, right? A 2-to-1 slope. I'm wondering if there's a reason it's being held so tight there, or if there's a way, yeah, why it can't be feathered out more.
There is, the drainage goes across the property below there, but yeah. The way the,
The water comes down towards the
Solar panels or what?
Show
Or the leach,
site plan.
towards the leach field?
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think the swale stays to the west. Looks like. Okay. Yeah, it's just,
That's what she's asking.
You can key that out more.
okay.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, it's just a little squished. Okay, I can make it a comment then. I just was wondering if there was a fixed reason why that extent was held.
Well, on the west property, you can see it's gonna be,
On the west makes sense,
we
yeah.
we can bring the southerly portion of that into a 3-to-1, something like that, and help soften that.
Okay, sounds good.
We're talking cubic yards of soil. When you go more, of course, it's more grading.
Yes,
More fillers.
yes, yeah.
And there's a septic system is below that.
Yeah,
Ours.
they were staying away from the septic, maybe. Okay. All right, any other questions? We'll move on to public comment.
But what are the material, the driveway is a road base and then you have like concrete patios around the outside of the thing? Is that what it, outside of your home?
The driveway,
Yeah, it was identified as road base.
base and pea gravel.
Okay, and then you have like gravel in the backyard, it looks like.
Aggregate. Decomposed.
Okay, cool.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to any public comment. I don't see anyone here. Is there anyone online?
We don't have anybody online and we have nobody signed up for public comment.
Okay. All right, we'll move on from public comment and return for comments from the board. We'll start with Alex. Haven't picked on you yet.
Okay, so it seems like a simple project design wise. Can go to page 13, please. It shows the elevations. Yeah, right. Oh, no, Is that 13? No, okay, so I'm confused. The elevations, where are they? Oh, page 4 and 5. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. There's 4 and then and 5. Seems like a simple thing. I just have just 2 comments. One is the you see it in both. No, go to page 4 and then to page 5. Thank you. They see it both on the east and west elevations. It seems like the gable end vent seems to be maybe too large and out of the design different from the rest of the elevation. A minor comment. Similarly, the eave of the steep eave, the connection with the porch, it's awkward. On the other side, go to the next page. it's resolved because the roof continues and then the roof, the porch roof, it's not on the same plane as the on the other elevation. Those are minor comments. I kind of wonder why the windows need to all be lined up at what appears to be 6'8". But anyway, they're minor comments. So mainly two, the attic vent and the connection between the porch and the side, not on this elevation, but on the other page, on page 4. Which is go up a little bit, which is just, no, the other way. So it is the west elevation. That's where the connection, let me point. And those are my comments.
Okay. Val.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Well,
landscape.
Alex, we could get that.
Yeah.
I see what you mean about that, and we'll have the, that needs to be addressed.
So
I know.
I'll go ahead and make my comments. I actually spent a little bit of time looking at this because I think you have a great opportunity here to make this a really, really sweet ranch house. But I think there's a few things that you could do. I feel strongly that that 2-to-1 slope so tight against the front of the house is limiting your outdoor space, and it's creating it's a very engineered solution. And there are many ways, and you can engage the landscape into this to undulate it, to feather it, to make areas that extend, maybe do some little terraces and make it into a real residential pleasing landscape foreground for your living space rather than a 2-to-1. It's just not, it's not a pleasant thing to live with. And it's also not great to look at from East Valley. And this is actually really visible from East Valley. So you can make this a beautiful, more naturalized foreground for your house. And then I started thinking, because I agree with what Alex was saying about the interaction between the porch roof and the gable end on the main body of the house. And I think with detailing from your architect, you could make the interaction between porch and main roof much more attractive, and maybe set it in a little bit and maybe extend it across in front of the bedroom so that you have the same set in with the porch to the big roof at both ends and have a nice porch along that whole south. I mean, that's an option for you to, if you may have reasons you don't want to do that, but it would tie that facade of the building together if you had a continuous porch roof with slight set-ins at both ends that kind of make it more symmetrical. And and then I also feel like you've got lots of opportunity to vary your window heights. I don't know what your roof is like or your ceiling inside, but it's a nice simple gable shape. You could get some volume inside, and you could put some drama into some of the windows with varying heights. Again, working with your architect to look how to really make a aesthetic facade. Like here, that high bathroom window is kind of dominating the rhythm of the glazing on that wall. And these are things that you can play with it a little bit and you can make it a lot more aesthetic. So I'm very familiar with this property. I used to live pretty near here, drive by it all the time. I love your property. And you have such a great opportunity to do a simple, sweet, level, nice building. So I hope you can spend a little more, exploring on that. So.
Right. We're horse and cow people. So yeah, and the whole, that transition from the house to the porch we did kind of fight with that there, and we realize we need help with that. So that it's very rude, this rendering for the conceptual. So, and I agree with especially the front, like the taller windows or something, for the living room. And originally we actually did have the porch the whole length of the house and then shortened it, right?
Yeah.
Because of the bedroom. So maybe taking it. Right. 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 Yeah, we can easily put that back. That's how it was originally, actually.
Yeah,
Right.
we did.
So
corner's
kind of
up.
playing. Yeah.
John, do you have any comments?
Well, I agree with those comments. I think it's a nice little house and you have a chance to, develop it, the idea a little more. You hold
Hi, Greg. How are you?
hold the porch,
Good, thanks. I know
the
you
west end a little, and so you'd have the same detail on both sides. And besides, you're not gonna hire a grader, a guy that can do it. So, you could vary that slope. It seems like, you've got a lot of space and you could relax a little bit on it.
And work with your landscape architect to develop some of the landscape pockets and opportunities if you vary that slope more.
Could we go to the landscape plan, please? 3.0. Yeah, the landscape plan, I think is great. It's appropriate choice of plants. I think the comment on trying to extend the grading in front of the house to, it's not a steep slope, major improvement. Tough to comment without seeing the thing in front of you, but
The landscape was
you're
just
on the
L1.0.
11th page, page 11, if you could load that. All right, there you go. Just a few things to think on, and that transition from the driveway to what is like the breezeway between the garage and the main part of the house. I think there might be an opportunity to kind of improve upon the entry experience of how you're coming into this house. That the way that the paving kind of meets that gravel path seems a little forced. So I'd study that as a spot to maybe do something a little bit more than what's presented there. And then I don't know if there's a need for any circulation around the other parts of the house, but that's one thing to consider if you need to go on the other side of the driveway around the back of the garage or from your patio around the back side of the house. Seems like you got a bunch of space there. I would say kind of be nice to have like a little path or something. And then I don't know if there's any need for any like a garbage area or anything like that at this house. I just didn't see it proposed, but I think the planting is appropriate, and that slope is an opportunity to kind of expand upon the planting potentially to really help marry this home into the property. Those are my comments. I think it's a nice house.
Good. I actually have a follow-up question before I make my comment. I agree with the previous comments. Is there a view you're trying to preserve by putting it at the finished floor elevation that you're proposing? There is. Okay. 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 And I don't have an issue with the angle of it at all. I'm just looking at it because it is a lot of fill you have to bring in. And then my comment about extending the slope is adding more fill. I mean, and so my comment is just to study whether it's possible to drop your finished floor elevation a foot or two to kind of balance out, minimize that slope and let it feather down without adding a lot of extra fill. I realize you have drainage on the north side that you have to contend with. So, but if there's a way with a really short stem wall or some way to get that drainage out and be able to drop your finished floor, because you're basically only adding fill around the front and not.
Reason why back from north side, all the water comes.
Mm-hmm. A swale. Okay, well, I'll leave my comment kind of so you can study various solutions, because I realize a retaining wall is an expensive solution, so that there maybe are others, but just to study a way to potentially drop the finished floor elevation to mitigate some of that fill and soften the slope on the south side. So. Otherwise, I think the other positive comments and constructive comments I agree with. So, you're here agendized for conceptual review. So it can return prelim full board? Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, we don't make a motion for conceptual. We just tell the planner that she can, or he or she can agendize you for prelim coming back.
Good morning.
Yes, we're going to start with your item in 1 second. We're just finished up with the last one.
I apologize for the technical difficulties. Okay, we have what you see on the screen right now is the proposed plot plan, totally clean without the trees and the canopies that we have all over the place. And the first page is with it, and the second page is without it. I signalize the hardscape, which is the driveway that we have right now. With the pebble stone all over the place. And we removed the koi pond, which was causing a little trouble, and the walkway. So we leave the unit that will be the new artist studio just by itself. The landscaping, I include in the page number, the next one, number 3, all the landscape we have, the main entrance, and if you can notice, we have a canopy. We have like 35 to 40 oak trees that give a shadow all over the place. And we plant landscaping on the places that receive sunlight, and the rest is hardscape existing already. We are not planning to redo the landscaping, just leave it as original. And I noticed on the tree report that we have it, that the 2 trees are 8 and 10 feet from the construction. We will not cause any problem on the trees. If any major mitigation measure is needed, probably we will do it with the structural engineer, but he said that he cannot see any problem with that. And the doors were changed. You can see that on the elevation. Next page. Yeah, we tried to use a nicer door, more modern, not those French ugly doors that we had before. And I think that is for today. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to questions from the board.
Yes, sir.
there a camera on the front?
Next time, okay? What is this?
Jonathan, I think you'll have to point.
Yeah, yeah, what is that exactly? Yeah.
Oh, they are existing columns. You can see the 6x6 all around the house with green paint is original from the original house. We try to maintain the same original.
So this is an existing piece of wood?
Yeah, you can see it on the pictures of
separating
the house. I include the pictures of the house. You can see that it is original.
And you're repeating that, right?
Yes, all over the place.
Okay. And this is siding or plaster?
Yeah, it's siding.
Vertical or horizontal?
It's wood siding. It's 1x8 all around.
Next time, please show the lines going from left to right, showing the siding, because this is very hard to read.
No, it's with angle. I put a wood siding to match the original.
I understand. You need to show it. You need to draw that. What is this material?
Diagonal, not,
Is diagonal siding?
I think that's what he just said.
Well, whatever it is, you need
you
to
say that the
show what
siding is
what you're
angled?
planning to do. What is this material?
Or are there existing photos in this?
Well, it needs to be shown in the elevations. If this is asphalt shingles, if that what it is, show it as asphalt shingles. If this is siding, show it as siding.
Yeah, if you blow up a little bit the image, you can see the siding. Yeah.
Okay.
When it's small.
It will be the
size.
comments to the board then. Okay. The comment is
Computer angle.
Okay, any other questions?
yeah. These are comments or questions. Okay.
We're in questions right now. Any other questions? All right, we'll move on to public comment. I don't think there were any letters. I'm just checking. Nope.
No letters, and we have nobody signed up for public comment and nobody here.
Okay. All right, so we'll move on to comments from the board. Alex, you can start.
Well, the elevations need to follow standards, county standards, universal standards. You need to show in the elevations the building. If the siding is on a diagonal, you have to show diagonal lines indicating the siding. If the roof is asphalt shingles, they have to look like asphalt shingles. And the stone is to look like the stone, etc. So that is really necessary. So the building inspector knows, or everybody knows what is it that is being proposed. Those are my comments. I think it appears that the proposal is totally reasonable. It's just that the presentation is awkward. It has too many lines. It doesn't indicate what needs to be indicated in the plans. And I leave the landscape comments for the landscape architects.
John?
Yeah, I agree with Alex's comments. And you have photographs also, but they don't tell you what the building looks like. So
yeah,
I think that that could be clarified. It seems like it's kind of side loaded to the rear there, to the right side on this elevation, and it, on the south elevation. And so would that be the east side? What is the east side? Could we go to that elevation? Yeah, I mean, it seems like that doesn't match the rest of the house, but it's also by itself, it's isolated. So I guess that's okay. Anyway, okay, that'd be my comment.
So what are, on the proposed west elevation, what's the dimension of those posts?
You
on
have
this?
page number 6. Go down to
Well,
5 and 4.
we
Yeah,
were
if
just,
you blow up the elevations, you can see the the finish, see the wooden siding and everything, if you make it bigger on the computer, because the PDF file assume and make it smaller. You can see right now, you see the siding, you can see clearly. And the size of the studio is on the page number 2. You see it's shingles on top and it is the siding.
I was asking about the dimension of the posts.
Yeah, on the page number 2, number 1, 2, 3. 3 or 2, please.
Whoa. No, stay on the
number-
elevations. Yeah.
Number 4, right there. Number 4 has the dimensions.
Yeah, right, stop. That's where we were. I was asking about the proposed west elevation, front deck side, main house. You're showing a covered porch with posts. What's the dimension of those posts?
Oh, the posts are 6 by 6, the same as the rest of the house.
Because I think this is all high fire. Have you talked to the building department, fire department about what you can do in terms of building open arbor systems? I think the minimum post size is 8 by 8.
Yeah, we will
Yeah.
match whatever the building and safety require.
Well, but that's
Yeah,
going
the
to
original
change
is
the
6
whole
by
look
6.
of the design. So I think that's an important feature to understand before you start this presentation.
Okay, I understand.
Because, and I think part of what Alex was saying about your computer-generated drawings are not, you're using a hatch for your siding that does not reflect the reality of what the siding really is dimensionally, I don't believe.
Okay. I
So
understand.
it looks like a computer pixelated, it doesn't look like a siding finish on a building. So that was part of that comment. But in addition, you need to understand what the limitations are going to be on you structurally that affect the look of the elevations. We can't make a determination on this because I don't think you're going to be able to build it this way.
Okay.
Robert?
So it's unclear that it's been resolved on the question of identifying the existing oak tree. So that needs to be brought in. Maybe if you go to the first sheet, please. This is a very challenging drawing to try to make sense of. So maybe there needs to be some hierarchy in the way the presentation is achieved in terms of, indicate the trees as a different color or something. And then if you go to the second sheet, please. What is like a landscape plan, we have superimposed on it a roof plan. So we need to see like the footprint of these structures, the decks, you have an artist studio, which it looks like you're proposing steps up into. We need to see how all that works with the ground that's underneath it. So there's incomplete information. And I respect if you don't want to change the landscape, that's fine, but I think you still need to demonstrate how these structures land into the existing space that they are in. And it looks like you've eliminated the koi pond and the decks, so that's kind of simplified your proposal here. With this level of doing work on the property, I guess I would suggest that studying the landscape would make sense, but I don't think it affects anybody in the neighborhood, and it doesn't really present a problem to me if you just choose to keep this as simple as possible. So I'll defer, Kaylee.
Sounds good. I'll just run through the comments to see what was addressed. Nice project for A, that return with the site plan clearly demonstrating existing and proposed, including the site section showing the slope of the site, include existing and proposed hardscape. I don't think that comment is clearly addressed yet. To Robert's comment, I don't think it has all the site plan information, the hardscape information, or clearly defining the circulation on the site. So we'll keep that comment, I think. Simplify the site plan, too many lines clutter up the plan. So neither of these plans really can be considered a site plan at this point because one, the extraneous information on this one isn't necessarily the information we need, and then it's almost oversimplified on the next, which leads to comment D with locate all existing trees, including the type and size, and demonstrating how the additions will impact those trees. So it shows a distance to an unlabeled green circle. We'll assume those are the trees because we asked the planner earlier. But we need a kind of a tree inventory that says the species and size, DBH, diameter, breast height. So just kind of our county standards for inventory trees. And then the planner mentioned that you have had a biologist report. So we'd like that included in the set so we can see what your mitigation will be. Because she did note that at least 2 of the oaks will be impacted. And so we'll need to see where those mitigated trees are going to be located. We had a comment to return with a landscape plan and study the koi pond, how the koi pond integrates. If that's being removed, I think we just need more comprehensive photos of the existing landscaping. And it'll help to see where the proposed hardscape is so that we can see that the landscape can remain and how it integrates with the site. And I'm not sure about the French doors. Was that addressed, architects?
Yeah, we switched to a different door.
You're switching them. Okay, so that item was that comment was addressed. Okay, I think that completes our comments. You are here for a further conceptual. What does the board feel for a return? Preliminary.
Yeah, if we can deal with.
Yeah.
There's some pretty big items.
Yeah. So
You're saying concept.
yeah. Okay. So I will ask your planner to re-agendize you for further concept and prelim review. But those are pretty significant comments. And so please make sure your site plan especially comes back addressed.
I may say, really respectfully, I think you need to upgrade the quality of the drawings. I think that the board is pretty much okay with the design. Is that correct? More or less, the general design seems to be fine. Yeah, yeah.
But I'm concerned about the high fire timber structure because that would completely change the look of what he's proposing.
That's true. Yeah, the fire, but then also the drawing should show clearly to a casual observer from a distance what is being proposed.
Diagonal siding, it should be drawn at 6 inches.
And the same with the site plan. One has too many lines; it's impossible to read. The other one doesn't have enough. So really need to bring this to standards. You can talk to the county planners to show you other drawings of what the normal drawings look like, and maybe that that can help you out. I'm not trying to be difficult. We're trying to move this along. I just want the project to meet the normal standards of the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, and that concludes our May 3rd, 2024 SBAR hearing.
Thank you.